as per usual. All right. As usual, welcome to Rack Denver. A lot of familiar faces, so that's awesome. Don't know you. Yeah.
I've been once.
You've been to one. Okay.
I remember you here. Yeah, he's old school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Way in now.
you're not a familiar. I apologize.
No,
So general housekeeping, bathrooms out the front door, all the way around. There is no shortcut. Doors are locked at 6 o'clock. So if you ever get here late, you ping me on Discord, which I'm about to run downstairs to watch the doors for a few minutes, but got Chuck here talking today. Build tools is, I think, something near and dear to all of our hearts. I haven't built an app from scratch, from absolute scratch, in 12 years. Who wants to configure Webpack? No. So Chuck's here, got some great stuff here. It's all up on my computer screen, so I got to read it a little bit ahead of you. And we're going to go ahead and kick that off. I'm going to share screen. The whole desktop. There. Pass it on. All right. Hello, everybody. Chuck Dietz. Say, does everybody know each other? Do we want to do like a quick round of names, who you are, and just a little bit about yourself? That'd be cool. I'm kind of new to the group too.
Good idea.
Yeah, I'll go first. I guess I'm in the middle on messing up
Let's do it.
everything. It's fine. My name's Ryan. I just moved to Denver about a year ago, but I've been doing front end stuff for 8 years. Just kind of getting into doing a lot more app stuff. So yeah, really interesting. One of the last few meetups, I just worked off of his project about React Native, and I started doing React Native stuff. So I think it's pretty fun for being.
I was there too. It's a good one.
My name's Joe. I've been doing web development professionally since 1996. Worked for one company for 25 years, just in government software. A lot of jQuery, I got into Angular, and right about the time I hit burnout, they were getting into React. So I've not actually had my hands on React as an app professionally developed yet, but I'm probably going to dedicate to the project site to get some practice that way. But learn a lot here when I come to these meetings. So very valuable. Appreciate everybody coming and presenting this stuff.
Jeff, good to see you again. Remember you from the machine learning meetup.
Yeah.
Well, I from this meetup for 9 years, helped out organizing, and I sort of retired full time out. So focus on stuff.
Ian lived in Denver for 10 years. I came here to go to DU. I did 2 years of computer science, dropped out, and was like ski bum, but I still like computer science, so I kind of kept picking away at it over the years. Like CS 50, and I did it in camp last year. So it's been mostly React.
Hello, everyone. My name's Ross, full stack developer. I've been in and out of programming for about 6 years now, but really enjoy it. Problem solving. Second time I've been to this meetup, and I find it really enjoyable, and I'm excited to try out some others as well. Thanks for having me.
My name is Eric. I have been coming to this meetup for years, but I had a couple years off. It's my my career in web dev has I kind of feel like it hasn't really started yet, even though I have had actual jobs. It's just that a lot of them were short-term contract to hires that didn't hire. So I have a lot of short-term contracts that makes me look flighty on paper, and I hate it, and I hate that because I'm very reliable.
Yeah, I'm Alan. I've been doing professional React developer for about 8 years, and I started doing React Native, like mobile side. Still working on my app, actually, I was working on it yesterday, so. Yeah, I mean, I'm also interested in something new, it's like I haven't done Next.js yet, although I'm sure I'll get what that is. So, looking to learn, looking forward to learning some stuff.
I'm Charlie. I've been working as a front-end developer the last couple of years, at a small research company, and yeah, looking forward to hearing the talk and learning about both tools.
I'm Chuck Dietz. I've been a full stack developer for 12 years. Worked in e-commerce for 10 years on a open source PHP platform called Magento, doing front end, back end, some server work. Worked at a startup called Zappy in Boulder that deals with Angular and the Laravel backend. Worked there a year and a half, got let go 6 months ago to join this group, an effort to sharpen my skills. And then last couple of months, they hired me back. Happy ending. I also do music on the side, original songs and video game covers, like rock renditions of Zelda and Mega Man, Final Fantasy, all the good classics.
Nice Paul Reed Smith.
Thank you. Also a snowboard enthusiast, dreaming of being a ski bum someday.
Much have you spelled?
I used it pretty heavy for a couple of months and then went into maintenance mode. That was like I'd say that was my first front end framework that I did. I built like a chimney application basically for people to build a wood burning stove in their home. So like picking the stove, figure out the height, their roof slant, and then just plug it into a wizard. It was super cool. Like it was all as opposed to like Angular or still learning React, but it's all in one file, your HTML, JavaScript, CSS. Definitely worth trying. Questions, ask in the middle or the end. We can keep it like a discussion, just be polite. If I don't have an answer, either I'll note the question or I'm totally cool if any of you might know the answer. And we're all here to learn. What we're going to cover today: why build tools, create React app, and why we don't use it anymore, Vite, Next.js Remix, and Gatsby. For my methodology, I will have all the resources available at the end in the repo. There will be a QR code you can scan if you'd like to check it out. I basically just did research. I looked up each different framework, looked up how to build it, what the purpose of it for, or what the team was trying to do with the framework. And then looked up a couple other articles, and a little bit YouTube and Google searching, seeing popular opinions, like why do people like the framework, why do people dislike it. Then I took those, actually built the tool, both building it for development mode and production. And then I did a little bit of baseline measurements, seeing how long each process took. So why build tools? It sounded like most of us already know why build tools. We just don't build things from scratch anymore. We can, and it's a great learning experience, but when you're on the job, got to work for speed. Setup and configuration is done for you. So compiling JavaScript, CSS, minifying it, which also falls under optimized performance. It's got enhanced developer experience. One of the coolest things, especially with Vite, is you make a change and it updates your page right away. I've seen that a lot with CSS parsers, but I feel like JavaScript's a little bit newer. Supports modern tools, and it also has scalability and maintenance. So some things that go hand in hand there are the package management does the updates for you. So generally, you're updating your main package, but then they're handling all the dependencies underneath the hood. So let's start with the first one. That's create React app. So why shouldn't you use it? It's not really supported anymore. So this is the GitHub repo. I looked at the latest release of version 5, literally 2 years ago. Latest commit to main was 10 months ago. It doesn't actually appear on React.dev anymore. React.dev is React's official documentation. So now it's recommending Next.js, Remix, Gatsby, and Expo. Or if you're looking for more control, using React and React DOM packages with bundlers, which is Vite and Parcel. So today we're going to go over Next.js, Remix, and Gatsby, and Vite. Again, this has core developer experience, so it has no server-side rendering. That's going to be something that some of the tools offer, where maybe you want to hide your information or add authentication or make things stronger for SEO. It's loaded comparatively for what it does. And there's an eject command that basically the framework handles everything for you, but once you want to customize a little thing, you do this eject command, all the dependencies fall in your lap and you're responsible for everything. And again, slow build times, we're going to see some really fast building tools. And so does anybody know how to collapse?
Escape.
With the escape.
Is what you could also use like multiple 3 figures to do open or just switch between tabs.
So yeah, just to see it, this is the Create React app. So let's see right now. Just got a repo. I'm going to go to a little Create React app folder and show you how this spins up. npx React app. So I'll create a project called demo. It did not work.
Yeah, T instead of
Yeah, use T.
So why?
What I do?
You hit T instead of Y.
Oh. Debugging 101, hit the right letter.
I like right now.
All right, so just real quick, who's historically used Create React app?
Up and down now. Or
I didn't even know. Have you ever used?
Yeah.
Can't do it on 7 anyway. It needs a newer version of Node than what we get on 7, so.
Yeah.
I like 7. I like the newer Windows versions.
Yeah, I didn't know that it wasn't used anymore either. I always heard Create React app. And doing this project, that all of a sudden I came across everything that's like, don't use it anymore. Somebody let me, and then it hit whenever. Yeah, it's not on the React website. But I did create it. So we'll go into live demo. And yeah, to start it. I think pretty much there. Yeah. Start. And that's our Create React app.
That does it. Great. I see.
I don't think I have a break.
Yeah. Let's see.
There we go. got a function button. I'm always on Windows. Thank you. So that was our create React app. Pretty simple. Again, since that is no longer recommended, I want to start getting into the good stuff. So we're going to look at Vite. Some people pronounce it Vite, some people pronounce it Vite. I'm going to go with Vite because in French, Vite means fast, vitement. It's arguably the best alternative to CRA. So it's the lightest weight framework on our list. Only takes up 124 megabytes of space, 13-second install time versus however long Create React app took. It's a 2 to 3 second build time. That's the production build. Doing npm build is just boom. You have fast server start, and what they do is they split the dependencies and the source code to do that. So I believe that they're caching the dependencies, and then they're just focusing on. So I lost my train of thought. This could be another bullet point.
Probably only updated ones that have changed. Right?
Yeah, that's under the fast hot module replacement. So it's using native ECMAScript model, so it's using something that's more browser native. And then whenever it's doing the invalidation, whenever it's changing code, it's only changing that particular scope. It's not refreshing the whole thing. So it's shoot. There we go. So created and maintained by NMU, 934 contributors, very supported. Big sponsors, including Stackflix. If you haven't heard of Stackflix, that's something new that I learned, where it's basically a live coding website. You tell it what framework you want, but I think it does React, might do Svelte, Angular, a bunch of other things that you click a button and you immediately start coding. Uses the roll-up module bundler, and the future anticipates roll down, which is roll up on steroids, I guess. So let's download that. Vite is the one that I do have experience with. The website has a little tic-tac-toe game that you build to learn, and Vite was my choice there. And my README, some instructions. Latest. Why? So it asks you what project. So this is really cool. These are all the different frameworks that it supports. So we were just talking about Svelte. If you want to experiment with Svelte, it's supported. You've got Vue. That's another framework I haven't really personally messed with, but it's another popular one. We're going with React. I'm going with TypeScript, just so I like everything strongly typed. It catches a lot of errors. And SWC is Speedy Web Compiler. Makes everything really fast. Yeah, that built it right away. The one thing it doesn't do is it doesn't pull the dependency. So we have to get into the directory and run npm install. Which is generally pretty quick here because dependencies are minimal. You're just getting what you need. It's done. So npm start.
Let's see if you run dev.
Thank you.
It's running development. range. Click it.
All right. Here we go. So they provide you with a little interactive page. Like I said, whenever we're actually developing with this. But it's like super fast. Yeah. Goes fast. Updates super quick. Like I said, very, very lightweight. So if you're just trying to learn React, just trying to learn, the front end, the basics of it, I like it a lot.
Speed that it updates and shows you the results of your changes is critical for what kind of work I do, because I'm just like, I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
So the ones, so it's getting slower and slower, I was just starting to get I'm tired of some of the little changes. They're just, like every time they add a new feature, slow everything.
Right.
Yeah, right, and then you're distracted, and then it's no getting back.
I do the same thing. Just make a change. And then, every second is a chance to look at your phone, pull up a YouTube video.
Start playing with the dog.
Yeah. So, neat, super cool. What are we missing? Server-side rendering. So our project is all client-side, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. No security measures are available without outside configuration. So the best, to my knowledge, is you can do is like obfuscate your bundle files. So that would help, but it would only be a deterrent, wouldn't prevent any access. Image file types are static, so you're building your images on the server and hosting them there. There's no like server-side transformation of them. And then I don't think it's as much as an issue anymore today as I was reading. Like Google's used to handling dynamic pages, but in the past, like if you had JavaScript loading a page, that could be an issue for a crawler that's going to see a blank page before they actually see all the content that's loaded by the JavaScript. So let's introduce Next.js. Introducing server-side advantages. So like I said, please the Google gods, improve your SEO, crawling bots, and initial page load. So there's image optimization. So Next.js can transform your images. That it can deliver a WebP or JPEG, PNG, or whatever file format it needs to be quick. And it's also going to scale it to your device. It will also reduce cumulative layout shifts whenever the page is loading and elements kind of shift around. Google will lower scores for that. So it'll keep everything in one spot. Information hiding, like I said, route handling. So you're hiding your information, made certain routes. You're not just delivering your whole application at once. And middleware, so you could build an authentication layer if you wanted to. Jots are really common. Jots and OAuth and all the standard authentication mechanisms. And server rendered components, which is, so no making tons of client to server API calls to load one page. In other words, when you have just a client application, maybe you have like a REST backend. This is what I'm used to working with, is I have to call like 3 or 4 different REST APIs to get all my data. So I'm going to make 3 or 4 different calls. Server rendered components, that it makes all the calls at once and then filters the data down through the components. Next.js specs. So maintained by Versal, it's a cloud infrastructure and CDN company. Webpack 5 module bundlers, it's the latest. It leverages Turbo and Speedy Web Compiler for bundling and modification. So again, more essentially, it's fast. So let's check out Next.js. Wanted to spin up that project. Stop it. Interestingly, the way to start this is with create next app. It is not to be confused with create React app. X. Similar to what we saw with Vite, it asks for a project name. Again, I'm going to go with TypeScript. It has ESLint built in. Tailwind CSS. I haven't done too much with it yet, but it looks pretty cool. I guess it's now personal preference with Next.js that you can or cannot have a source directory, depending on whether you want it. I'm used to using a source directory, so I like to still have that just to separate my configuration files from my code. I'm going to use the app router. Don't customize alias. And then it packages everything and builds our instance. Has anybody already used Next.js? Any thoughts on Next.js?
It has a lot of features. It's kind of like a good actual framework for React stuff. I tried doing some WebSocket stuff, but it doesn't. I don't think it supports WebSockets at the current version. But yeah, it's great. And it has a lot of support, especially because you can just easily put in Tailwind and other stuff. It's nice to just throw something up, especially if you're doing a hackathon. It's like an easy like kind of full server front end thing.
Yeah.
The two things I have to say about Next, I've been using Next for years. Fantastic. Two things I don't like. Cache is magic. Like if you don't really dig in deep to how their caching mechanisms work, like the page is cached and built. And if you don't know that, it doesn't do it in development. So you're hitting your database every single reload just fine and go to production. So the cache is magic. Second one, Next is really built for Vercel, right? So all the cache and everything works wonderfully on Vercel. Port it to Netlify, run in your own Docker container. You miss out on a lot of the advantages that Vercel gives you out of the box for free. So it's a little more hand-holdy if you want to run it on your own, but it's not nearly as bad as Vite or Create React App or any of those that can running as a production. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's good to know. I was wondering like where you would actually run it. Like I was thinking Docker container was one thing.
Yeah.
Versus being locked into one vendor, I guess. But it sounds like
Yeah.
it is like optimized for one vendor.
You run it as a container and then you can chuck it up anywhere you want. But if you want caching, you have to you have to set your pod up correctly to have a cache and all that stuff. Which if you don't know how to do that in Docker, then you're not gonna get it. Their documentation on that is very mind-blowing. But
Is that by design?
they probably, I mean, they want you to pay for their stuff, so they're not gonna give you a wonderful guide on how to use their free software on other people's systems. That makes sense, right? Here's like open source stuff that we don't pay us for it. Go run it on. Sorry.
Thank you. So let's spin it up, npm run dev. Starting with local host 1000.
I like when they console log how long it took to build.
Yeah,
It's sometimes handy, especially if you're on a team and somebody's like, I'm slow, and you can start to see who's fast or slow and try to figure out why these changes let they think bad.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. It playing for the rest of you.
So this is Next.js running on the machine. Let's poke real quick. Updated here. Live updating that. I was gonna say, I'm kind of just skimming over the builds. Is there anything like particular anybody wants to see with the build files before I jump over them?
So with the Next.js, can I just see, I'm curious when you get, what they, Bob, what they do, they post CSS, maybe like a layout page.
Yeah.
See, it's a little bit.
There are routes, anything like routes.
Next.js does use like file based routing.
I was gonna say I'm literally focused on just the build, so I'm not sure how the route works. So
Yeah,
you speak to that.
I think in your public folder, is that what you had open? Or
Yeah.
well, page.tsx is in there on your source app. So I think that's your default page. I think if you make a folder called pages and then put something else .tsx there next as you, yeah, I was saying, like the Next.js router will create essentially a route for that page component.
So it's done like magic, or you like you
Yeah.
create a
Yeah, that's why where it turns like more framework.
okay.
Yeah, it does it for you. And there's some other stuff you could do with like APIs. You kind of have to know a little bit of the magic though to get that all working.
So like I said, what will be cool with all this is I'll have a repo at the end that you can pretty much get right back to where I'm at now. I have all these readmes and instructions of all the stuff I looked up. So the command to run, I've got this. This is the app I created live, but there's this plain one that is committed to the repo with all the basic folders. If you want to take that, review the files, and then run with it. So. Yeah, what could be done better? Doesn't have the speed of Vite. Might not like the fetching data at the component level and would rather have it at the router level. That means, to my understanding, is that with Next, the API fetching happens at like a top level component or maybe multiple components versus the Next framework is going to have all your fetching done in the router, and then we'll filter through all your components. And then, yeah, Next.js, like you said, it doesn't support a certain type of, I forget which web sockets or web.
Yeah, you can still like put in, it's just not like a ultimate.
So a lot of standard web tools are not necessarily supported. Then we've got another framework called Remix. So Remix is a friendly competitor to Next.js, maintained by Shopify. So again, heavily backed. Recently uses Vite. So you've got the full server client model, but you've got your development experience of Vite, so everything's gonna be super quick. Again, touches data at the routing level from the server to pass the client component tree. And then there's some web standard tools that uses. So uses the web fetch API, and the front end pieces are using natural anchor tags and form tags. What does it look like spinning that up? Here. Remix tool. Yeah. Create remix. Latest. MPX on the end. And similar prompts. So we're going to create our new project and just go with the default for now. I'm going to mix that. We'll actually initialize a new Git repo for you if you'd like. And just let it do that. Install dependencies. Not. Oh, that's good. And Jeff, am I okay on time?
Okay, perfect. Okay, about 20 minutes.
So any remix users? What's your feedback on remix?
I like Remix. I used it. It's not entirely for me. But Ryan Florence, Michael Jackson did a really good job with it, and Shopify taking over and kind of doubled down on their abilities of what they're doing for Remix. Remix is built very strongly on web standards. So it's no longer a platform, it's JavaScript.
Okay, cool. When Remix first came out, it wasn't open source, right? You had to use it.
Yes, it was in beta, was licensed, but when it came out of beta, then it was open source. So it's kind of a pet project for development. Then it was React Training, Michael Florence, right? Michael Jackson, Ryan Florence were part of React Training. So they have a model to work for.
So. Change directory into the project. Then npm. Goes to 5173.
So this sits on top of Vite. It looks like it's somewhere. Correct?
Yeah, this is running Vite on the back end.
So again, what you did. It's Vite plus extra features, is that right?
That's my understanding is you're getting where like Vite and React, the first example I showed is just your front end. Because if you're building like a single page application, you're just getting all client side and Vite's giving you your building and your development experience for that. Then Remix, you're getting your full client server model. So you can build your full stack, everything, your routers, your security. But then your developer experience is sped up with the under the hood. So
Yeah, there's some additional stuff like area like built into it, right?
what was that?
There's some additional stuff like error handling built into, I think some of the routing.
That's right. I think there's an article I think I cited in the Git repo. There's actually back the person that did Remix that compared themselves to Next.js. I think that was one of the points that they touched upon.
Mhm.
Did that, or it was in the documentation somewhere, you're right, where Next.js I don't think does anything, but Remix was showing like some sort of error page just directly built into the framework.
And no more way, hopefully no more waste screen tests.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I admit I do that a lot with Angular. Yeah, this is Remix. Probably one of the plainer pages it's given us that says welcome, couple tutorial links. See if you poke around at the structure. And play around with it because this is all pretty new to me. That looks like this is where this looks like our homepage. Okay.
Wonder why they cared a lot less like about their like default index dialing with the other headers. Everyone else put in a little effort. It's just like basic.
Yeah, they wanted to get out of the way as much as possible and not, go, hey, here's Tailwind, and like force you down that path. So I kind of see why they did it. They just wanted
No, they're not even using,
super basic.
even CSS is like direct CSS, so they would use.
Yeah, like they're just using plain styles. They're not even using CSS classes or.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Your Next.js comes with a little bit pre-built in, and then Remix is fully blank canvas. And I've got a bonus round, which is Gatsby. So from what I understand here, it's static site generation with a touch of a data layer. So data layer is powered by GraphQL. Has everybody worked with GraphQL? Does anybody not know what GraphQL is?
I've heard of it.
Have you worked with REST APIs? So now REST APIs, you do like your confer, your get, post, put, and then it gives you generally gives you all the data at once. GraphQL, thought about this analogy while I was eating lunch today. Is imagine you've got a tray and you put like, let's say put like 3 bowls down and you put a little label in each bowl. You want some soup in this one, rice, some toast. It's interesting mix. And give it to your server and they see the labels and they put that food in there for you and return it to you. So you're just getting exactly what you're asked for versus you show up somewhere else and they prepare a meal for you, which would be like the REST API. So you're narrowing the data that you asked for and just getting exactly what you want. And then if you're like joining different records, doing complex things, let's say you're like querying products in an e-commerce environment, but then you want to get your prices and your inventory, it will, you query it a certain way that it links all that data up for you. So,
Check it out.
yeah. Insurance company once said, only query for what you need. And also with GraphQL, the schema can be auto-generated. So write a schema and it will build the API for you.
They have a nice tool called GraphQL. Like, it helps you with the APIs. What is called? You asked what you did. What was that? GraphQL. GraphQL? Yeah, GraphQL.
Maintained by Netlify, so cloud-based static hosting service, again, very well backed using the latest Webpack. See what that looks like. Right. So I don't know what the puny code module is. Got my Gatsby site. We'll put it in my Gatsby site folder. In our JavaScript or TypeScript choice. And this is cool. So from what I understand, Gatsby has all these integrations built in already. So if you are working for WordPress site or you've got a Shopify store selling products and you want to build some sort of single page app or ecstatic site, it gives the benefits of that quick JavaScript happening while having actual dynamic data. You can use Gatsby. And add that later. Has several different CSS frameworks to pick from. Say Tailwind, because that's what we had in Next.js, I think. And it gives you all these other options to customize. So these are all things for SEO. And believe that the Markdown and MDX support, from what I understand, you could build your pages using Markdown. As it's like the HTML. So you could write it in Markdown, and then the MDX means where you plug in the variables. So you have JavaScript variables at the top of the page, and then you use like the curly braces to plug in your variables in your spot. We shall do this. Anybody use Gatsby? What's your experience?
I didn't set it up, but I've used it a lot. I really like the way you can mix HTML, React, and like I said, the dynamic variable input and Markdown. So I tend to try to use Markdown as much as possible until I can't. If you have a table or something, and Markdown's just terrible to do tables with.
Yeah.
But I really like mixing those three things together in MDX files. It's probably my favorite feature, Gatsby.
So you mix it. Do you like write one piece in HTML and then the
No,
other?
it's all in the MDX.
Markdown?
It's just you can suddenly just change from Markdown to HTML or React, one line to the next, and it figures it all out.
Since you have,
I used to build freelance websites for companies, and I saw it like, you have WordPress for the CMS and Gatsby for the front end. And when I would show them, like, one of the features it has on it, where when you hover over a link, it loads it in the background. I would show them that, and they would go crazy over that. Yeah, it's too fast.
People love the whole thing like that.
Yeah. That's my experience.
probably at the end of that. Yeah, so
Way back when React Denver was the guy on the site. Yeah. It was Remix. Now it's Next.js. So we'll see what it is next year.
Yeah, it's weird, it's really part of like the staff, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never got into the Jamstack. There was a Jamstack meetup, 2019 in Denver.
So I broke it.
Sorry.
So I broke it. For the people that know Gatsby, is there a way I can turn off the Google G tag plugin footage?
Did you collect it from big?
I did. I shouldn't do that.
Why don't you start over?
I could.
Is it, it's not,
It's the easiest, that's the only answer I know.
It could be in config, it could be something super simple. I just don't know. So yeah,
Is that it?
yeah, there,
that's right
take that
there.
out.
Leave that.
it sounds good to me.
So give you a, she didn't give you a track yet.
I was looking for something very cool.
We're getting there.
You also just say that's the demo.
Yeah. This is Gatsby. Use it at your own risk.
I remember my laptop was really hot one day, and I was like, that's funny, because it's been in clamshell mode, and I haven't used it for a week. And it was because I was using this static slide tool that was running Gatsby with the previous Gatsby that was eating up my CPU.
Oh, yeah.
I've got some numbers at the end. I think Gatsby was one of the ones. Oh, we're running. I think it was one of the longer or the like bigger ones. Well, we did get it running, so good job, everybody. Debug. Yeah, so what your files look like. So we found the config, we found out where the plugins are. package stuff. CSS, tailwind. What's in our source? So it looks like we've got a little bit more broken down here.
When you were researching the doc, like which documentation did you enjoy, like reading the most?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Did you even read documentation?
Not that much, but I. Trying to think. I mean, I feel like for Vite, like that was more just spinning it up because it's using React. So I was reading all the React Dev framework, or just React Dev documentation when I'm working with React and doing their tic-tac-toe demo.
Those docs are amazing.
Yeah,
And spent a long, like a year and a half, 2 years on those docs.
I mean, I don't think they were bad. Like when I was looking for the different things, I would jump in. It looked like both Remix or Next.js had a lot of examples. Trying to think. There was one that I don't know didn't look as pleasing to me. It might have been Gatsby. Just because I haven't dug through the tutorials and things yet.
Use Next.js or that's. Server, like the server side rendering and all that kinds of stuff.
I don't.
Next.js.
Is Gatsby just like, it takes all your data and flattens it out, make it load fast, but it's never like dynamic part of it. So server side rendering stuff that want the dynamic parts, won't be in. I mean, there's some like, I guess, React stuff, is there React bundles and served up in Gatsby that can pull in dynamic data?
Yeah, let's see why not. Underneath it
Yeah.
all, you can just still get back down to the normal JavaScript. And do things outside of framework. Didn't have any problems with Gatsby there.
Yeah, last time I used Gatsby, it was like when Gutenberg and WordPress was put out. So I don't know how
Been a
much.
few years since I used it. So I guess changed a lot since then.
And that, like, it's 5 minutes, okay. In a nutshell, I haven't read through either too much, but I can say that like documentation that I do like is it starts with routing, like let me get a hello world and then start introducing different things. So if I'm doing full stack, like maybe I want to know how to, display dynamic data and then pull from a database, call another API. So Gatsby. So putting it all together. Not sure how relevant it is, but these are the specs that I ran my tests on. So just 64 gig, bunch of RAM, some video. I actually have the npm cache and project files on 2 different drives, but they're both solid states. So these are the install times that I got. So create React app is 58 seconds. Vite is at 12 seconds, so it's the speedster. Next.js wasn't too bad, 32 seconds. Remix, getting back up there, 60 seconds. But again, Next.js and Remix are giving you your full stack. And then, as we saw, Gatsby takes a really long time. It was almost 3 minutes. And that's, this install time includes like doing any npm installing, basically getting from 0 to being able to run it in the browser. these are the different storage footprints I got. So again, Gatsby's huge. Create React app is a little bit bigger. Next.js is even a little bit bigger, but again, full stack offers a lot out of the box. And Vite comes in very small. Build times, these are the production build times. So create React app, 7 seconds. Vite in between 2 and 3 seconds, lightning fast. Next.js and Gatsby, longer, 12 seconds. But then Remix, again, running Vite in the background, so it's got lightning fast builds. So this is kind of what I've been going by. I don't know if I have a favorite yet, especially not working with them, but my plan is use Vite when I just need to focus on the front end. And when I need something more full stack, I'm going to look at Next.js or Remix. And then Gatsby, if I'm working with WordPress or Shopify, I might try a static website. These are all more build tools worth considering that I didn't touch upon. So stack links and code, sandbox, run right in your browser. Expo, Alan gave a talk on that a couple months ago. Super cool. Astro is similar to Gatsby, but this is younger, more modern. Redwood and Blitz are more full stack frameworks, and then TanStack. Jeff, you recommended to do that, but I just wasn't able to touch base on it. So that's another one.
It's still very, very, very new, so. Half the documentation of this can still.
Yeah. So, like I said, don't take my word for it. These are all just different ideas. Pick up the new framework, try it out whenever you need a microservice or you want to try some full stack application. Gatsby, if you're selling rubber ducks on Shopify. And just tinker with technologies. That's all I've got. Thank you. Thank you for bearing with me. This is my first presentation here. And hopefully you learned something about these frameworks or what frameworks are out there. This is a link to my GitHub repo. Like I said, all my readmes and the stuff that I looked up is in there. So if you want to take a snapshot of it, then those will be all starter projects for you to go install it and then just read the documentation along with it. LinkedIn is here if you want to add me, and then my Instagram self-promotion where I do my music.
I will post links to the presentation and GitHub in the event channels, just in case you didn't get it on their phone. All right, thank you very much. All of these build tools, frameworks, really are the starting point, right? Again, don't build it from scratch. I like Next, but that's what I've been working in for the last 3 years. I'm gonna check out TanStack, like announced it like 3-4 weeks ago that he was working on it. So that might look pretty interesting with his router. So anywho, we got about 20 minutes for networking, hang out, chat, meet each other. There's vodka pizza left. If anybody wants to take some home or eat it now, that'd be awesome. I am taking the pepperoni. So next month, I don't think I have anything for next month yet. So come hit me up. We'll get you in there. Thank you very much again. Last month, I asked for a speaker. He stepped up and then said, "What do you want me to talk about?" And I said, "You know what's really cool? Or build." So he did this just off a whim. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Really good. Very good.
Yeah. So stopping the recording. Thank you for online folks, and have a good one.